doesn't Pete do interviews?
I don't think I'm very well perceived. I don't think my language works well in print.
Pete Davidson just cannot seem to stay out of the news no matter how hard he tries. Ever since he started dating Kim Kardashian on the heels of their romantic kiss for an SNL skit, the internet is just a frenzy for everything that has to do with the relationship. As we wince through Kanye's rather choice mental health issues that seem to target Pete with some rather hateful vitriol, we have finally, for the first time, seen Pete clap back in the most epic way possible. On top of that, the comedian has revealed that he got a few tattoos in tribute to Kim, or actually not a tattoo, but more on that later. And on top of all that, it was rumored that Pete might even be going to space on Jeff Bezos' rocket. So much going on for the comedian, it's hard to keep track. Today we're updating you on the life of Pete Davidson. Tomorrow though, you decide. Let us know in the comments down below who you think we should cover on the next episode of Where Are They Now? While you're down there, if you could like this video, that would mean a lot to us. Let's get into it. Pete Davidson is from Staten Island, New York. His father was a firefighter who tragically perished while fighting fires at the World Trade Center in 2001. Pete describes being so affected by the trauma of the experience of the loss of his father that he began acting out in school. At one point, he ripped his hair out until he was bald in response to the grief he was experiencing at this time. Later on in 2016, Pete describes feeling intense depression to the point of wanting to harm himself. He claims that the music of Kid Cudi is what saved his life during that time. Pete didn't start taking an interest in comedy until high school when he was at a bowling alley one night with some friends at the age of 16. While they were there, his friends dared him to take to the stage and tell some jokes. From then on, Pete began consistently doing stand-up comedy. Although he was admitted to university, he would only last one semester before deciding to pursue a comedy career full-time. Davidson's first stand-up moment in television was in 2013, when he made an appearance in the MTV comedy series Philosophy. He then proceeded to be a semi-regular on the MTV circuit and even made some stand-up appearances on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. When he was 20 years old, Pete was hired onto Saturday Night Live as a writer and became the first SNL cast member to be born in the 1990s, while also being one of their youngest members ever. His appearances on the show garnered tons of success, and he quickly became a fresh face that SNL needed to keep relevant. He did really well on the Comedy Central roast of Justin Bieber, and in 2016, he was on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list for his work in comedy. Although he is very successful in comedy spheres, those who know less about that culture know him mostly for the women he dates. In 2018, Pete began dating singer Ariana Grande. He began seeing her the day after he broke up with his girlfriend of 2 years, so a little sus on that end. But anyways, they moved super quickly in the relationship and even got engaged only a few weeks into knowing one another. He got a tattoo of her bunny head costume thing, and the two were near constantly spotted with one another. This whirlwind romance is kind of what propelled Pete Davidson to being indoctrinated into mainstream media. Even though their relationship only lasted for 5 months, people kind of just knew Pete because of his famous girlfriend, and this trend would continue with Pete's subsequent girlfriends from here on out. Only a few months after breaking it off with Ariana and covering up a tattoo dedicated to her, Pete was spotted with Kate Beckinsale, an actress who was 20 years his senior when they left a Golden Globes after party. Because this fling was so close after his breakoff from the engagement to Ariana, her stans kind of basically were the reason they broke up after only a few months. Quote, "Even though Kate has been in Hollywood for a long time, she struggled with the attention on a relationship with Pete. He lived his life with his heart on his sleeve." He then dated someone else, and then Kaya Gerber, the daughter of supermodel Cindy Crawford. She was only 19 at the time and pretty young. But sadly, their relationship wouldn't really work out, and the parents didn't support Pete at all, stating they hoped it would, quote, "fizzle out." And fizzle out it kinda did, because only a few months in, they broke it off because Pete was going through some serious mental health issues at the time. Right after they broke up, he admitted himself into rehab for substance use and depression. Quote, "She's very young and I'm going through a lot, and it was before I went to rehab. It just wasn't the right place or the right time at all." Then again, Davidson had a 5-month stint with the Bridgerton actress Phoebe, before finally we are at Kim Kardashian. For an SNL skit in October 2021, Pete and Kim were first introduced and rode on a magic carpet with one another in reference to the Disney movie Aladdin. In the skit itself, the two kiss, and not long after, they were seen holding hands on a roller coaster. This is right on the heels of Kim and Kanye's divorce, which had started out out amicable, but quickly turned into a highly public fight as Kanye insisted on posting about it near constantly. Although Pete and Kim started off as just friends, the comic quickly put on the charm and took Kardashian on a few dates, and by the second one, which was a private dinner in Staten Island, they had confirmed that they were officially a couple. It kind of works out in a funny way though, because Kim's sister Kourtney is currently engaged to Travis Barker, who is one of Pete Davidson's best friends. And now we get up to current stuff going on with Pete Davidson, of which there is a lot. Ever since he started dating Kim, Kanye has taken it upon himself to paint Pete as public enemy number one, and has even dubbed him Skeet. In a series of now deleted Instagram posts, Kanye slammed their relationship back in January before he made a string of attempts to win Kim back almost a year after she filed for divorce. Not only did he attempt to woo his ex back while she was with Davidson, but he also referred to Pete as garbage and trash before accusing him of destroying his family entirely. Throughout the entire onslaught that occurred, Pete Davidson remained remarkably quiet, likely in a show of solidarity with Kim, who made several attempts for them to handle the relationship privately. But finally, in March, we got some insight into exactly how Pete has been coping with it all in the form of a series of private messages that Kanye leaked amid his flurry of posts in which Pete maintained that he wouldn't come in the way of West and Kim's children. To which Kanye replied on the post of the screenshots, quote, "No, you will never meet my children," in all capitals. And then in a separate text exchange with Kim that Kanye leaked shortly afterwards, we learned that she had urged her ex to stop compromising Pete's safety after he encouraged fans to yell "Kim Ye forever" at him in public. Kim had texted Kanye, quote, "You are creating a dangerous and scary environment, and someone will hurt Pete, and this will be all your fault." And then, a few weeks later, Kanye released 2 music videos that sparked a new wave of controversy for Pete's safety. In the music video, a claymation replica of Kanye brutally harms Pete Davidson, who is wearing a Skeet sweater. Through it all, Pete, had remained silent. That was until this past weekend, when a bunch of text messages with Kanye were shared by his best friend Dave Cyrus on his behalf, captioned, quote, "A message from Pete." Dave often shares messages from Pete online because the comic doesn't have much of a social media presence. Smart, if you ask me. The messages were shared after Kanye posted several since-deleted videos in which she accused Kim of not allowing him to see their kids before claiming that Pete was texting him bragging about being in bed with a beauty mogul. The text read, quote, "Yo, it's Skeet. Can you please take a second and calm down? It's 8 a.m. and it don't gotta be like this. Kim is literally the best mother I've ever met. What she does for those kids is amazing, and you are so lucky that she's your kid's mom. I've decided I'm not gonna let you treat us this way anymore, and I'm done being quiet. Grow up." The text also had some swear words in them, but I can't say them. Kanye replied, quote, "Oh, you're using profanity? Where are you right now?" To which Pete replied in amazing comedic fashion, quote, "In bed with your wife," alongside a selfie of him in bed throwing up a peace sign. On top of all that, Kim revealed on Ellen that he got a few tattoos dedicated to her. One of them says, quote, "My girl is a lawyer," and another one of the Kardashians is actually a branding, not a tattoo. He branded a tribute to Kim, just literally the letters Kim, onto his skin so that he would be unable to remove it. Mind you, Pete has tattooed plenty girlfriend tributes onto himself only a few months after meeting people, but the branding is certainly new. And then, yes, there is more. On top of the branding, Pete was said to be one of the guests chosen to ride in Jeff Bezos' rocket up into space, because why not? He was going to be one of 6 passengers on Blue Origin's next flight, but it got rescheduled to the end of March for more testing. Once it got rescheduled, it seemed that Pete was no longer able to make it, and so he bowed out. I guess he could go to space later or something, because that's just what rich people do now. So what do you think about all of the insanity that's going on in Pete's life right now? Let us know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, I'd love it if you could subscribe to this channel so we can continue to grow and produce more videos. I've been your host, Sierra. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Where Are They Now? See y'all next time.